Hi everyone, I've got the newest information on our powerful cold front that's going to be blasting through the Caribbean and the Bahamas. We'll take a look at the timing of the strong winds, the heavy rain, and yes, even some temperatures dipping into the 60s in parts of our area. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hello everyone, Rusty back here from Meteo Mundo on this Saturday, February the 17th, coming to you to give you the newest information on this very significant front. It's going to continue to bring us large impacts and some wide impacts, if you will, across a good part of our area. So wanted to come on and kind of look at the newest information and the timing with that. Now, on this Saturday, we're actually enjoying some pretty nice weather for the vast majority of the Caribbean. Not so much in the Bahamas, but most of you right now are seeing warm and dry and very breezy conditions and then downright windy in a couple of spots. But this is what's to come, and that's what I want to highlight. So as we get started again, thank you so much for liking the video. Not a subscriber, you want the latest forecasts across all the Caribbean and the Bahamas, just click that subscribe button right now. And we'll get started. So the first thing I want to show you here is kind of what's happening with this front right now. I can tell you this, I live in Central Florida. It has been a cloudy, cool, wet day. Temperatures right now are in the upper 50s. That's why I'm wearing this jacket. At this point in time, I want you to notice that the rain is kind of moving more than anything, kind of due west to east, okay? So let me pop on this telestration here. I want to kind of show you what I expect to happen over the next 24 to 48 hours. So most of the rain right now is moving due west to east. What's going to happen is we're going to get a kick of some mid-level energy with kind of a broad area of low pressure that'll be developing here in the south central United States, and eventually that will start to drive some of the rain to the south, and then that push of more northwesterly winds will bring this into our area. But at this point in time, it's basically just kind of going west to east off of an old weak kind of trough in the atmosphere right now. Nothing substantial as of yet as far as any movement goes. So it's going to take another day or two for it to finally begin to kick out and move to the south and east. But once it does so, it'll be coming with some earnest. Now, again, temperatures on the board at the hour here across this area. Look how cold it is behind this front. And again, ahead of it, with south winds, it's very warm. There again, I live in Central Florida. We're in the upper 50s. The winds are still out of the south in the Bahamas. And I mentioned it in yesterday's video. I hope there aren't a lot of people in the Bahamas watching me right now. I hope they're out enjoying things, or they're watching on their phone and they're out in the boat or they're doing some shopping, because later tonight, things really begin to go downhill. We're going to talk about the marine forecast. Now, the winds are going to be picking up here, and then we're going to have some gale conditions for the northwest Bahamas. But it's still 82 right now in Nassau and about 79 in Freeport. So still some nice conditions there. And again, across the rest of our area, you're enjoying some pretty tranquil weather for today. Mainly east to southeast winds, temperatures that are going to be climbing well into the 80s and even a few or lower 90s. The wind is a big story for some of you. Again, back to the ABC Islands. I mentioned it yesterday, how strong the winds were, and they're even stronger today. Aruba has had a 44-mile-an-hour wind gust on this Saturday. Bonaire has had a wind gust very similar as well. I believe they've been up to about 35, and it's the same thing for Curacao in the mid-30s. Some exceptionally strong winds in this area at this point in time. So very, very windy conditions for the ABC Islands. You live in this area, let me know in the comments section below. Even though we have the easterlies across the Lesser Antilles, wind gusts really haven't been a big issue for us here. And again, it's been, you know, breezy east winds, but not gusty in most spots. So I want to talk about how the winds are going to be playing out and then affecting surf and sea conditions. And then we're going to look at the latest timing of this front and the rain that it's going to bring. So again, strong cold front. It's going to take 24 to 36 hours for it to begin to push south. But once it does so, I'm still forecasting winds that are going to be turning out of the north for at least the western half of the Caribbean, including Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, areas along the Central American coastline. and then maybe a bit of a west to a northwest wind on the northern sides of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, potentially as far east as the northern Lesser Antilles, Anguilla, Antigua, and Barbuda. Most of the Lesser Antilles, though, will stay mainly with the east wind. But again, the convergence of winds in these areas, especially northern side of the Lesser Antilles and the Virgin Islands of Puerto Rico, could spell some heavier rain like it did last week. It may not be as prominent overall, but that's something I'll be monitoring. Anytime we get this convergence of winds, you got a lot of lift in the atmosphere because of that. And there's a fair amount of moisture to go along with this. So in the Bahamas, it's very clear to see how this is going to be playing out. We'll start off with the winds again still out of the south. Now, as we go overnight into tomorrow, here comes the front with a driving beginning to turn southwest wind that will eventually turn out of the north. And as we go into Sunday and early Monday, we could have some gale conditions out of this. Winds really picking up. It's going to cause problems, obviously, for any small craft wanting to get out. And those north winds will dive all the way down to the Turks and the Caicos. There's at least one broad area of low pressure trying to develop. And then I mentioned over here, here's kind of your mid-level turn in the winds here in the Gulf of Mexico coming out of the south central United States, which will drive the north winds deep into the northern side of the Caribbean. And again, places on the northern coastline of Jamaica and portions of the Cayman Islands had some inundation of water, water going over seawalls and water flooding low-lying areas and tidal issues. And that's a possibility again with these strong north winds. We can take a look at the wave heights here, and I'll get myself off camera just to do so. So what you're looking at is the wave heights in feet. And again, anywhere you see yellows, we're basically getting up to 10-foot waves. Some of the areas that could be impacted by that would be the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, the Yucatan, potentially areas of the Northwest Caribbean, and then the Northwest Bahamas. You can see that also maximum of some stronger, higher waves near the ABC Islands to go along with those very, very breezy easterly winds. The arrows are the wave directions, but obviously they're pretty much concurrent with what the wind direction is going to be in most instances. So this is what's going to be going on in Grand Bahama. For the remainder of this Saturday, small craft advisory, wave heights will only be building through the day. They're going to be seeing winds turning out of the southwest at 15 to 20. And by the way, this does include Nassau and Eleuthera and Abaco and Bimini and Walker's Key, anywhere in the Northwest Bahamas. Seas averaging 3 to 6 feet. By tomorrow, we have a gale warning that goes into effect all the way through Monday morning. Winds turning northwest 15 to 30 knots with some higher gusts. Seas in sheltered locations right around 4 feet. But you get into the open waters of the Atlantic, the exposed waters, we're going to have some swells 10 feet and higher. So again, small craft will want to remain in port Sunday into early on Monday. So obviously we've got the wind aspect of this. Let's talk about the rain aspect, and let me give you the latest timing of that as well. Again, the most significant rain is going to be impacting the Bahamas later today, tomorrow, through the Yucatan, the Northwest Caribbean, and some of this moisture is still able to work its way into the Caribbean. Now again, this low develops and it's going to be riding up the United States East Coast. So guess what? More than likely gale conditions again for Bermuda by midweek as that powerful low with a lot of wind energy comes up that way. So let's talk about how we're going to see this play out. And we'll start with the areas that will be impacted first by this rain. And again, the timing is exactly what I expected yesterday, where the rain begins to move in late tonight. But generally speaking, the daylight hours in the Bahamas will be dry. Again, it's going to take a little kick of energy to push this rain south. But here you go through your Sunday. It's going to be wet. An isolated thunderstorm is possible. At this point in time, I'm not concerned about stronger storms. Not a lot of rotation. I'm not too concerned about a water spout. It's a possibility. It's not the chance is low, but it's not zero either. And again, you can see we'll continue to dry out a bit early on Sunday, although there'll still be a few showers around with the north wind. And then that rain will go into the central Bahamas, the southeast Bahamas, and eventually into the Turks and Caicos. Now, of course, it'll be dying out a little bit as it does so, but the Turks and Caicos should see some decent rain on our Monday. And again, on our Monday into Tuesday. And for the Northwest Bahamas, again, it's later tonight through basically Sunday. Unfortunately, Sunday looks like what I'm experiencing right now. It's a washout. It's going to be cooler as well. Those north winds are going to be driving in some temperatures in the 60s. And I talked about that kind of as one of the headlines. Some of the Bahamas for morning lows early this week, we'll see lows in the 60s. And by the way, it'll be a fresh north wind. It's going to be on the chillier side. Now for the Yucatan and for Central America, again, your rain begins to move in kind of late tonight and then overnight as well. Now we've had a few showers develop already. This will have a fairly good push, meaning that it will be in and out relatively quickly here. The winds are going to be strong, but again, as we get into tomorrow morning, you can see the rain building into Cancun and Cozumel, and then it just moves south. It's going to be a relatively wet day for Belize City and for Roatan as well. There'll be a few isolated showers coming in behind it, but just like everyone else, it is going to be cooler and beginning to dry out early in the week. Now, again, I'll be watching for any tidal issues, any flood concerns for the not for Grand Bahama, but for the Cayman Islands and for Jamaica as well. Again, your rain chances going up as the front arrives. So we'll see some spotty showers later today. Here comes a few showers into tomorrow. The timing a little bit later. So now you're looking at mainly late tomorrow night and then into Monday for the opportunity for some showers. And again, in Jamaica right now for my friends in the Grill, in Montego Bay, Kingston, Port Moore, Spanish Town, on over towards Ocho Rios and Mandeville. Probably your best chance for showers are Monday, Tuesday. Hopefully you get some. I know it's been relatively dry in that area. Also, again, winds will be turning out of the north. So slight concern about some, higher than normal tidal areas and that wind pushing in some water into the northern coastline. So I'll be monitoring that. If you live in that area, keep me apprised. Let me know how things are going there. And again, you will get cooler. There will be some temperatures dipping well into the lower 70s in a couple of spots, even as far south as Jamaica. Now for the rest of our area, again, generally speaking, the farther east that you live, the less this will impact you. It doesn't mean it's not going to impact you some ways. You can see that rain beginning to move in as we get towards midweek, and that's what I'll be monitoring down the road. So basically my focus will be kind of northwest areas, and then I'll be tracking that front moving east and then really focusing in on the impacts it could bring these areas later in the week. And of course that includes Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, all of the Lesser Antilles. Now, again, you guys are still going to stay with your easterlies in places like Barbados and Trinidad and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Trinidad and Tobago, the entire area. There will be a little bit more of a southerly component later in the week, and that could spell a few more showers here. Again, I don't see that maximum of rain that we had last time, where we had 3-4+ inches of rain in several spots. One thing I will be watching out for, though, is swells to return to places like Barbados and other areas of the Lesser Antilles where we could end up having potentially some high surf advisories to go along with it. So just to expand this out one more time, showing you the 5-day again, watching the rain move into the area. Some of the heaviest rain will be in the northwest Bahamas and portions of the Yucatan. I do want to highlight that really quickly as well. This is our total precipitation map. If I just expand this out 5 days here, so we'll go out to the 21st and we'll look at that. And again, anywhere that you see the pinks and the purples and the whites and the grays, those are rain totals over an inch. The model has gotten a little bit more aggressive with the rain totals here in portions of the northwest Bahamas. So when we look at this, here's Walker's Key, right around 2 inches of rain. Freeport, Lucayo, West End, High Rock there on Grand Bahama, 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit more. Same thing for Bimini. It's not going to shock me if in these areas we get some spots with more than 2 inches of rain. Should fall in a long enough duration where I'm not extremely concerned about real flood issues, but I'll be monitoring that. But again, potentially a little bit in the way of some tidal issues as we get into high tide cycles, we'll be monitoring that. And again, you can see there will be some pockets here, even into the central Bahamas, that are well into the 1 to 2 inch range. Portions of Cuba could get more than 2 inches of rain. Again, kind of the flow of moisture from the southwest to the northeast. And you can almost follow that trail of moisture back into Cancun and Cozumel. Again, not as much rain, but my goodness, portions deep into the central Gulf of Mexico. Thankfully, no one there, but a lot of rain. And we'll see maximums across portions of the Central American coastline, not a ton. Same thing for Jamaica. We could have a couple of spots here, and you can see the northern side of the island near Ocho Rios, maybe 1 inch of rain. Montego Bay could be included in that as well, but everyone should get a pretty good chance for some showers Monday and Tuesday in Jamaica. And then it's just spottier rain at this point in time for the remainder of our area. As I've mentioned, the heaviest rain may stay just offshore. So if you look here, just north of Tortola there, Road Town, we could have maybe more than an inch. But that heaviest maximum rain should be north of those islands. Okay, friends, I just wanted to give you an update on what I'm seeing here on this Saturday. Just remember as well, we are doing memberships. If you would like to become a member here at Meteo Mundo, we'd love to have you. Just hit that join button. It's 99 cents a month. You do get access to some exclusive member forecast videos, as well as custom badges and emojis when we go live. Remember, we're also across all social media platforms, so you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, we're on X, Facebook. You have a picture or video from your area that you would like me to show here on YouTube, send it to me at our email address, myMediaMundo@gmail.com. I'd love to include that in one of the videos. Of course, if you have a question about the forecast, drop it in the comments section below. And again, thank you so much for liking this video. Thank you for becoming a subscriber here to Meteo Mundo. We continue to see growth. It warms my heart. We continue to service your needs. That's what we're here to do. It's my pleasure to, and I'll keep you updated with the latest forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas right here at Meteo Mundo. Have a great day, friends.